Hey guys, welcome to this video. This is John Watts, and I'm very excited about this video because we're going to be able to get into some nitty-gritty on credit repair or fixing our credit reports. And what we're going to talk about is how exactly do we find the errors that will then provide the basis for our dispute. So the question is, how do I know if my credit report has false information on it? So first we get our reports, and you want to get, if at all possible, all three of your reports. So Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Now, you can also get Innovis and SageStream. We talk about those in other videos. And you might even want to get a 3-in-1 where it will show, for example, your Discover Card account. And on the left-hand side, it's got a column that's, Equifax. In the middle is Experian, and on the right is TransUnion. Or however it may display the data. And I will say this, a lot of times credit repair companies will say to you, hey, we want you to get this credit monitoring. And it's not to prevent identity theft, it's so that they have access to your credit reports. And look, sometimes they do that because they get a little kickback on that called an affiliate fee. So maybe it's $30 and they get $10 back every month. And, that's fine as long as they disclose that to you. But oftentimes, the reason that they suggest maybe a credit monitoring service that you may not be real familiar with is it makes it easy to import all the data into the software to do the disputes or to be able to identify the errors, which is all we're talking about in this video. So anyway, just keep that in mind. But look, you can start by just going to annualcreditreport.com, downloading your free reports, and you want to be able to sort of lay them side by side. So what we're looking for is false information, and that means the account as a whole or even some part of the account. So we'll see here in a minute. If you look on your credit report at your Bank of America mortgage, it's got 20 different pieces to it. It's got the open date and the status and the payment history and date of last payment, amount of last payment, scheduled payment, high balance, current balance. I mean, it's just got all this information. So we're looking for false information either on the account as a whole, like, hey, I never had a Capital One credit card. Or, yes, I have that account, but there are pieces of that account that are reporting inaccurately. Or that are reporting in an incomplete manner. So what do we mean by this? Well, inaccuracy is we look at each of the fields or the area. So again, like account type, status, what was your payment history in January of this year and January of last year and June of last year. And what's the current balance? What's the high balance? All those little areas, and see if the information for each area, just examine it. Sort of like you pick it up off the table, you look at it, you say, true or false? Either it's correct or it's incorrect. It's one or the other. Now for incomplete, we look at, again, each one of those fields or areas, and we might say, well, that's true, but my credit report is missing some really important information. Now, to make sure that this is clear, let's go through some examples. So inaccuracy. So I've used this before because it comes up so often. You have a $5,000 debt. I don't care if it's with an original creditor, it's with a debt collector, whoever it is, and they say, you know what, pay us $3,000 and we're done. So you owed $5,000, you pay $3,000, and your credit report shows the payment you made, and it shows a current balance of $2,000. Well, is that current balance true or false? It's false. You don't owe them anything. You owe them zero, nothing, because you settled it. Now, they could put in there, truthfully, that it was settled or settled for less than full amount or whatever they want to say. But here, I'm just talking about the current balance would be inaccurate because it's false. The current balance is zero, not $2,000. Well, maybe you have a mortgage and you're due on the 1st and you pay it on the 28th. And they show you being 30 days late. Well, actually, you're 27 days late. And the mortgage company goes, well, I mean, it's like we round up to 30. No, you don't round up to 30. If you want to put on my credit report that I'm 27 days late, knock yourself out. You can do that. But don't say I'm 30 days late when truthfully I'm only 27 days late. That would be a false statement. So again, that would be an inaccuracy. Well, and then here's the reason why we say sort of lay these out side by side, and why sometimes a 3-in-1 can be very handy, and certain credit repair software will allow you to import the credit reports, and then you can see this very clearly. So let's imagine you got Equifax on the left, Experian in the middle, TransUnion on the right. And look at the open date, and you'll notice I've highlighted in green the parts that are different. So January 5th, 2014, hey, Experian says the same thing, but wait a minute. TransUnion says February the 5th, 2014. Well, which one is it? Did I open the account in January or did I open it in February? It can't be both. I think I talked about this in another video, that old movie Raising Arizona, where the bank robber, walks in the bank, says, "All right, everybody freeze, everybody on the floor." And the old guy says, "Well, which do you want? If I freeze, I can't get on the floor. If I get on the floor," the guy starts yelling at it. Point is, it can't be both. Okay, I mean, I got one account. Imagine this is Capital One credit card. Either I opened it on January the 5th or opened it on February 5th. Not both. That's an inaccuracy. We'll look at date of last payment. Equifax and Experian say June 16, 2017, but wait a minute. TransUnion says July 23rd, 2017. Well, when did I make my last payment? It can't be both of them. And look, for this purpose, I have, two showing one and then one showing something different, but they all three could be different, okay, which just makes it even more powerful for your dispute. Look at the current balance. Is it 4567 or is it 5167? How about the account type? Is it an installment loan? That would be like a student loan or a car loan, mortgage loan, where it's a fixed period of time. Or is it a revolving, like a credit card? Or it can't be installment and revolving. So that information is inaccurate. So basically you take each account and you say, where are the errors? Where are the inconsistencies? As that gives you a basis to dispute. Now, how about incomplete information? So here's what I want you to imagine. This is my Discover card, and I absolutely missed my January payment. No question about it. I just completely missed January. But then in February, I made up for it. Okay, so I paid it on time and caught it up. I mean, whatever my payment was in February, I paid it. And I paid March on time, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Paid all those on time. And my credit report shows 30 days late in January. Well, is that true or false? Remember, that's how we look at this first. We say, is it inaccurate? Well, we go, that's true. I was 30 days late. But wait a minute. February, March, all the way through, why isn't it showing that I paid on time? That's incomplete information. It paints a picture that's incorrect. Now, Discover can say, yeah, but it's true you were late in January. Correct. That's absolutely right. I'm not disputing that. But I am disputing that you're not reporting me when I have made the payments on time the other months. It's incomplete information. So how about you have a balance, and let's say that it is $4,567, and then you make a $1,000 payment. And so here's what your credit report looks like. Equifax 4567. Well, that's not true anymore. Look at Experian. It's got an even different amount. And then TransUnion has the 4567. Last updated May 2019. That's what they all say. So at least Equifax and TransUnion are correct that as of May 2019, my current balance was $4,567. Now, Experian is not right. That's not my balance. But and this last part wouldn't be on your credit report. I'm just putting it in there so you can see. Let's say you actually paid $1,000 on July 2019, and I'm ignoring interest and all that just to illustrate this. So your balance should be $3,567. Well, again, Equifax and TransUnion are reporting it accurately, but Experian's not. But they're all reporting incomplete in that the update is incorrect, or we could also put a thing on there for date of last payment. But the point is, I could dispute that and say that's not right. Okay, I don't have a current balance now. So you can kind of look at this and say, well, is that inaccurate or is that incomplete? Well, it may be accurate as of the date of the reporting, but other things have gone after that, and so we could dispute that. And so, again, bottom line is find the incomplete information. Why? So we can dispute it. Now, I guess I should say this. We normally are not so concerned about positive information that might have some discrepancies, although that can still be important. But my focus in this video is the negative information that is false, that is incomplete, inaccurate, and that you have the ability to dispute it. So let me just remind you, this video is not to show how you dispute it. In other words, the next slide is not, here's your dispute letter. But it's simply to say, let's focus on how do we find the errors so that we can then dispute. So you do the same thing that you did on the accounts. You do that for personal information, public records. In other words, the whole report. You go through, is it accurate, true or false? Is it complete? If it's inaccurate or incomplete, then you flag that as saying, okay, that's something I can dispute. Now, we'll have a video in the future where we talk about here's how you craft or you draft your dispute letters. What do you say in those letters? And there's so much misinformation out there that I see. And people talk about, oh, I got these magic letters, you know, and lawyers, I'm really surprised to see this, but I see lawyers go, you know, maybe with a debt collector, they go, oh, I got this secret letter. I got just the right language. If I send that, all debt collectors go scurrying away. It's just a bunch of garbage, okay? There's no magic language. There are some rules that you can follow, best practices, okay? But this is not some secret formula or incantation where, you know, if you say it the right way, a spell occurs. No, it's just, let's present the information in a clear, understandable way to the credit bureau and usually to the furnisher of the information. So that would be like Discover Card, Capital One, whoever. So that they will fix it, or if they don't, then they're set up very, very nicely for a lawsuit. So we'll talk about that in another video. Also, keep in mind, we are going to have this free, it's absolutely no charge for it, Consumer Law University, where we'll have different courses on credit repair and dealing with debt collectors and dealing with mortgage companies. And if you want to know more about that, I'll have more details in January. Just make sure you subscribe to our video so that you can get updated on that. And if you are interested, feel free to drop in a comment or you can message me privately and say, hey, I'm interested in that. And then when that's opened up, you can join in that, and I will look forward to having you guys in there. The whole point of it, of these courses in the Consumer Law University, is to help you understand your rights and to encourage you to take action. And that is what our law firm has been built on from day one. Is, you know, we don't stand on the top of the mountain and say, we're the greatest lawyers, we're the most experienced, the most aggressive, the most fill in the blank, okay? And first of all, I think that's ridiculous. But in any event, that's never been our approach. And if you walked in my office, you wouldn't even see my diplomas. You wouldn't see awards I have because I don't put that stuff on the wall. I think it's kind of silly. What we have been all about is to give you information so that you understand your rights, and then encourage and help motivate you and help guide you. And obviously for people who hire us, we're very involved in that, to take the right action. We've talked about before, if we know what to do but we don't do anything, then that is wasted knowledge. We never should have learned that knowledge. So we want to discover our rights and then take the right action. And that's what this YouTube channel is about, our website, alabamaconsumer.com, is about, and our Consumer Law University that we are setting up. So if you have any questions, comments, put those below. Hope you found this video helpful. If you have suggestions for other videos, always feel free to either reach out to me privately or to put that in a comment. And we take a lot of those questions. That's where we get our videos from. And I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.